New season, new dark system. And guess what? MVP loss is still haunting me like bad Wi-Fi during ranked. I tried every role, every strat, but no, MVP lose is following me again this season. So I said forget it. I'm going back old school with Jawhead to escape this epic prison and finally push my way to legend glory. So I played 4 games. Stick around, enjoy the journey, and hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment so YouTube knows we're not just pressing buttons here. Now let's talk about Jawhead. Personally, I recommend playing him as a roamer or an explainer. Sure, you can throw him into jungle or even gold lane because, as we saw in MPL, teams are experimenting with fighters in the gold lane. But here's the twist. Most of the time, YSS still shows up in jungle, taking that traditional marksman spot. So if you're thinking, maybe I'll try Jawhead jungle, just be prepared for a rough ride, especially in this season, because let's be honest, the dark system is real. That's why in this series of games, I switched things up. One game I played him as explainer, and in the other 3 I went with roamer. And honestly, I'll say it again, Jawhead is solid no matter what role you throw him into. Build him tanky, he's a frontliner nightmare. Build him damage, he deletes squishies with his eject combo. But if I had to choose his best role, I'd still say roamer. Why? Because as a roamer, you're free. You get to help your random teammates in every lane, you control the pace of the game, and most importantly, you get to stop your teammates from feeding like it's a buffet. Now here's where it gets funny. I actually queued for both lanes, roam and explainer. Normally, the system just dumps you into roam without asking, but this time, nope. The system said, surprise, and gave me explainer instead. Classic matchmaking. It's like a bad roommate, always messing with you when you least expect it. But here's the thing, Jawhead in the side lane isn't bad at all. In fact, he holds his own pretty well. His early game poke with smart missiles is annoying, his sustain with defensive items is solid, and that eject skill, it's basically a get off my lane button. So even though I didn't plan on playing explainer, it still worked out. Now let's be real for a second. If you're stuck in epic glory prison, and I know a lot of you watching are, you need a hero that's consistent, reliable, and can actually carry or save your random teammates. Jawhead is exactly that. If you spam him, you'll notice something magical happening. Your loss streaks won't be as brutal. You'll still lose here and there, because let's face it, sometimes your teammate's idea of strategy is walking straight into tower. But with Jawhead, you're giving yourself a much higher chance to win. And trust me, winning with Jawhead feels amazing. Every time you yeet an enemy core into your team and delete them instantly, it's like therapy. The enemy team tilts, your team suddenly remembers how to play, and boom, you're back in control. Now let's talk about how I built him in these games. When I played him roamer, I leaned into tankiness so I could peel for my carries. When I played him as explainer, I added a bit more damage so I could bully the lane and snowball. That flexibility is what makes him so good in solo queue. You don't feel locked into one playstyle. And here's another thing I noticed. Playing Jawhead teaches you patience. When to engage, when to save eject, when to back off instead of overcommitting. If you time it right, you look like a genius. If you throw the wrong target into your team, well, let's just say your teammates will suddenly forget the 10 times you saved them and only remember that one bad throw. Classic MLBB teamwork, right? But even with that, Jawhead has one of the highest impact ceilings of any fighter. He's the kind of hero that can completely flip a fight with just one skill. And in solo queue, where team coordination is basically a myth, having that kind of power in your hands makes a huge difference. Now let's circle back to the system. Yes, it's dark. Yes, it loves to hand you MVP losses like free candy. But the beauty of Jawhead is that he minimizes the pain. With him, you don't feel as helpless. You're not just watching the game slip away, you're actively changing it. And that makes climbing from epic glory to legend glory so much more doable. Of course, let's not sugarcoat it. Legend glory is just another prison. The walls are shinier, the inmates complain more, but hey, it's still a step up. And escaping epic, that's the hardest part. Once you're out, you'll look back and laugh or cry. Probably both. So here's my advice. If you're struggling this season, stop experimenting. Stop trying every shiny new pick you see in MPL. Go back to the basics. Spam Jawhead, master his combos, and use him to drag your random teammates to victory, whether they like it or not. And hey, even if you don't win every game, at least you'll have fun ejecting people into towers. So as you can see, I'm building Jawhead tanky, but he's still chunking enemies like it's nothing. That's the beauty of this hero. Even if you're not stacking damage items, your skill kit alone hits like a truck. Toss, stun, chase, it's all there. And trust me, when you throw the enemy carry straight into your team, they won't care if you're tank or damage. They're just gone. Now, let's break this down. In solo queue, your marksman is the priority. They're fragile, they're greedy, and they need gold more than anyone else on your team. So what do? You babysit. You become the overprotective bodyguard hiding in the bush, waiting for the perfect ambush. The moment the enemy marksman steps out of position, boom, he's eating turret shots or feeding your jungler. That's how you control the early game. But solo rank isn't always simple. Sometimes your gold laner doesn't know how to lane properly. Maybe he's playing way too safe, or maybe he's already given up 2 kills in the first 3 minutes. That's when you have to adapt. Rotate to EXP, check mid, apply pressure wherever it's needed. Don't just sit with a losing lane and hope for miracles. Make those miracles happen yourself. And here's the harsh truth. Even if your marksman is bad, you still need him later. Because let's be real, no tank, no fighter, no mage is shredding towers faster than a marksman. That means your job isn't just protecting him early, it's keeping him relevant enough so he can push objectives later. And that's why Jawhead is so good. You buy him time, you keep him alive, and you let him farm even when he's struggling. Now, let's talk about rotations. Map awareness is everything when you're playing Jawhead. If you disappear from the minimap for a few seconds, the enemy starts panicking. They don't know where you are, they don't know who's about to get tossed into a turret, and that paranoia alone can win you space on the map. Use that to your advantage. Even if you don't make a play, your presence is pressure. One of my favorite tricks with Jawhead is faking aggression. Just walk up to the enemy mage or marksman like you're about to toss them, and watch them panic. Half the time, they'll waste their flicker or dash for no reason. Congratulations, you just burned a spell without even using a skill. Next fight, free kill. And don't underestimate how annoying you are in team fights. Jawhead is like that mosquito buzzing in the enemy's ear. They just can't ignore you. You dive, you disrupt, you peel, you toss. Your job isn't just killing, it's creating chaos. And the more chaotic the fight, the better it is for your team, because chaos means enemies make mistakes. Now, let's shift to objective control. Turtle fights, Jawhead is king. Hide in the bush near Turtle, wait for the enemy jungler, then toss him out right before retry. Lord fights, even better. You zone their backline, you block the assassin, you peel for your carry, and if you see an opening, you throw their most important player straight into your team. Few things are as satisfying as tossing their fed marksman into 5 people at Lord Pit and watching him evaporate. And don't forget, Jawhead isn't banned.
Consistency in ranked is about heroes you can always get, and Jawhead is exactly that. Reliable, flexible, and forgotten by most players, which makes him perfect for climbing. Here's another thing I love. Jawhead punishes greedy players so hard. You know those enemies who think they can split push all game? Surprise! You toss them into your turret or into your whole squad, and suddenly their split push strategy looks more like a free death. In solo queue, punishing overextensions is how you snowball, and nobody does it better than Jawhead. And don't think you're useless late game either. By the time full builds are online, one good toss can literally decide the game. Toss the wrong guy into your team, game over. Toss the right guy away from your carry, game saved. Either way, you're controlling the fight. Honestly, playing Jawhead in these ranks is like being the director of the whole game. You decide where the action happens, who fights who, and when it all goes down. That's a lot of control for a hero nobody's banning or respecting right now. So here's my advice. If you're stuck in Epic, Glory, or even Legend, spam Jawhead. Make him your comfort pick. Because while everyone else is frustrated with the dark system, you'll be climbing one toss at a time. And yeah, you'll still lose some games. That's solo queue. Sometimes you'll do everything right and still watch your teammates run it down. But with Jawhead, your impact is so high that even with bad teammates, you'll win more than you lose. And that's all you need to climb. If you made it this far into the video, that means you're a real one. Do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next upload. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.